Okay, so I have this quote from Shakespeare here. He says, all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. Well, it's the sort of thing that you'd expect a dramatist to pen, but that's how he looked at the world. And we still watch Shakespeare's plays some hundreds of years later because there seems to be something essential captured in them. Something about how people do act, but more importantly, I think, how people should and shouldn't act. Because what fun is it going to a play that doesn't outline how someone should and how someone shouldn't act? You want a good guy, or a couple of them. Maybe they can be complex interminglings of good and bad, you know, that makes it more sophisticated. And you want a bad guy, or a bad, you know, you always want to see that contrasted, either within a character or between characters. And it's because you want to know how to live properly, that's how to be a good person, and you want to know how to live improperly, how to be a bad person, so you can watch out for people like that, or so you can figure out what that means for yourself. It's compelling, and that's another thing that's worth thinking about. Why is it compelling? And it's compelling to everyone. That's the thing that's so cool, is that there aren't that many phenomena that you can point to that are compelling to everyone. Music is close. It's a very rare person who doesn't like at least some genre of music, no matter how narrow. But the other one is stories. You're hard pressed to find someone, especially if they're younger, who doesn't like stories. Why? Is it a waste of time? Or is there something going on?
Celebration crasher. Hates fun.
I think it's not only not a waste of time, it's actually the most fundamentally important thing you can possibly do, because there's no difference between understanding stories and figuring out how to get along in the world. So, and there's a tight relationship between the story that you inhabit that structures your behavior and the games that Piaget talked about that organize people's behavior. You know, to some degree, the reason that we can all sit in this room together like this is because a huge chunk of the value system that guides our behavior is shared. So I'm lecturing and you're sitting in the classroom, and that distinguishes us to some degree, but you know that that's partly merely a consequence of the difference in our age. It's the same trajectory. We just happen to occupy different positions in a value hierarchy that we both accept. And so as long as you feel that that's fair and just, then you're not going to object to it. But I'm here in the classroom for many of the same reasons that you're here in the classroom. If you look at the higher order parts of the value structure, and maybe right out at the end of that, because I've tried to figure out, if you push why you're doing what you're doing right now to its ultimate limit, so you can't get a story that's superordinate to that, it's something like, well, you believe that investigation of the world to acquire knowledge is worthwhile.
Questioning
Otherwise,
is worthwhile.
what the hell are you here for? And even if, you know, 80% of your motivation is to get a good, stable job, fair enough, there's still something outside of that, because...
And Wake the Beast mentioned this. He said, the main feature of ignorance is that you don't want to go explore what there is. You don't want to go find what are some medicines that can help you, and what would be available if you were to canvas this adventure that you find before you. So you don't want to do that. You just want to instantly open Stanley's door and instantly Stanley's free. That's not an adventure. It's not going to happen like that.
The whole culture says, well, you're more likely to be able to function properly in a good, stable job if you're the sort of person who knows how to go out in the world and forage for information usefully. And I think that's very much analogous to the hero story. It's like you go out and you search the unknown to find something of value. And so fundamentally, that's what we're doing in the classroom. And the reason we can all organize our behavior is because we accept that framework. Consciously would be we know how to articulate it. Unconsciously, it's, well, it doesn't matter. We know how to act out the patterns. Whether we can say the rules or not, doesn't matter. Same as a wolf pack. We know the procedures, and you could describe them with an articulated value structure.
Accidentally changed that by pushing the arrow. I was trying to stand up in the game. I went a little off track though, as the point of that information exchange discussion is this. I'm saying, look at this information. Let me get some of your information. Like, let me gather the information that only you can contextualize for me, and let you get some of that information that I can only contextualize for you through my way, allowing us to make that real perception of this infinitely complicated, pulsating reality we're looking at from these two different vantage points. It gets to the meaning of a unity of self and other, to understand the currency about that, about saying, I need to get some of your information, and I need to show you some of this information over here, and that's what we're trading. That's what it is that we're able to get from each other that is uniquely valuable, in such the way as to say, only you can get this information, only I can get that information, and only through the transaction that is this human contact can these two informations become something that we have crafted. So I think of human contact as literally a craft, as an act of bringing forth something that doesn't get made unless you put all the materials into a list, think about it, and experiment and do radical iteration and figure out how to combine them, and which elements go where, and try it, keep trying it, and keep doing it, and keep rehashing it, and throw parts of it out, and bring other parts of it back over and over until you figure it out. That's how you do it. That's what your human contact process is going to consist of. It's going to be exactly like creativity when you get to it, which is why at the end of this whole thread, I think of essentially this model, the idea that you should make a craft and you should make a stream and you should tell people what you think and what you feel. And like Peterson says, you have to find your own words or you don't exist. The reason for that, the reason to do that is because the reason that rises above any other kind of goals or reasons you might go along behaving one way or the other in the suffering vehicle that's called human life, is so that you get the power, you get the energy of human contact, the affection energy, the love energy, where existence is love. This is how you do it. You figure out what you're trying to say by reading the book that is what you're trying to say, and then the more you figure that out, the more you say what you're trying to say better. Other people can hear it better. They can see you. They can, by seeing you and hearing you, they are able to figure out what they can make better, because all these perspectives illuminate each other. And that's the mechanism of a buff that you cast outward from you, that you click on the button and it gives somebody else a benefit. You click this little spell and it casts the benefit. It comes from you. It creates a benefit. The benefit helps you, and it also helps other people. And then with those benefits, they can they can do the same thing. They can cast their buff, and that's how it goes. This is how the game is carried on.